What's up, guys? I'm Jay,
I'm Christy.
and this is season 2, episode 9 of the Trading Floor podcast. As you can see now, we've added a person from the previous week. We had Jeremy come talk. Thankfully,
Hi,
he
Jeremy.
came back again. Thanks, Jeremy. And now we have Navy here. But before we get into them, what I actually want to talk about is we're getting pretty deep into strategy wars. And for some perspective, we're filming this on March 20th. And so we're getting close to the playoffs. So how do y'all hoplites feel? Because it's a hoplite party in here. Everybody here is
It
in Happy
is.
Trail. How do y'all feel
Yeah.
about it? Y'all think y'all gonna win? Like what's gonna happen with some predictions, early predictions, or
I mean, I feel like we would have a better chance at winning if you weren't the commissioner and cheating. I know. I feel like it's real suspect that all of a sudden, like, Outback's in first place. But whatever.
Mm.
Whatever. Anyway, um, yeah. So that's my feelings on it. But no, I'm excited to be on Happy Trail. Actually, I this season I feel kind of bad. I feel like I kind of not as involved. But I will say, I'm not as involved because I'm forward testing a new version of Happy Trail. So it's like very hard for me to give like my markup analysis the same because the indicator is triggering a little bit different times, and then other people get frustrated because they're like, well, I don't have the same smiley face as you do. So I'm kind of like disconnected a little bit. But I have to say, huge thank you to Jeremy and to Miss Navy because you guys have been like the goats when it comes to the voice channels and running them and like it doesn't go unnoticed. I can see everything, even though I may not be in them. I can see that you guys are in there. I can see who's talking. I can see who's streaming. So thank you like a lot to you guys for doing that and like really kind of being the main leaders when it comes to that. Alex is also who's not on here, but you guys have met Alex before too. Another big shout out to him. And Josiah, who you guys have met, he's like tinkering around and he's trying to learn his way through Happy Trail. He was doing really good with brute force, so maybe should have started with brute force. But he's learning. He's trying with Happy Trail. He's also pretty vocal in there. There's a couple of people who are pretty vocal in that group, but you two by far have been the biggest. So big thank you to you guys. And I'm curious to know like your guys' takes on this season too. Like, what are you guys feeling about Happy Trail? How it's going? Using it with your systems? Like, because I know both of you like are kind of putting it into your actual trading systems already that you use normally. So how has that been going?
Yeah, it's gone pretty well because it's pretty much the same strategy, but just throwing an indicator on there and just let it play out.
Yeah.
This season, I'll reckon it's probably like one of the funnest seasons. I've only been like the 2 seasons anyway, but I really enjoyed kind of bonding and kind of like with Jeremy. I actually didn't really talk to Jeremy a lot outside of the community, but it was kind of nice to have a voice chat and then him kind of just like chatting with me and we're kind of backing each other off and like, having a little fun meme game and all that stuff there. So yeah, it's been a really fun season for me. I don't know, yeah, it's just pretty much just throwing Happy Trail one there and just trade it the way you normally trade. So yeah, nothing else special.
Jeremy, would you consider that you and Navy are the next TTF Dynamite duo? Because we've gone through Baron Spin. Oh, we have me and Chris. So you got Baron Spin. You have Luke and RJD and Stairmaster. Are y'all the Dynamite duo in Happy Trail? Yes or no?
I definitely think that is the potential way it's going to go. Yep.
Oh my God, the newest couple. I'm so excited.
Newest trading
guys,
couple. You got to hear.
So if you guys are looking
here.
for a trading significant other, hit us up in TTF because we low-key are a dating app apparently, or a dating like website, which we didn't even realize. If you're looking for your trading soulmate, we got you. You will find it in TTF. Just let us know. Just join Strategy Wars. No, I just
That's
messing
the
with you guys.
easiest plug ever.
But yeah.
We're joking around.
No. But for real, it is really nice to see like another set of people kind of like getting along and like you said, memeing and having fun and just having that person to like talk to. I think that understands your life. Like when your actual significant others in real life potentially have no clue what you're talking about. And like their eyes like just glaze over when you start talking about take profits and stop losses and stuff. So it's always nice to have like somebody else in the trading world, to be able to like bounce things off of, talk to that is also on your time. Because you two, I think there's a lot of connection there because you two are pretty similar in time as far as like the when you trade and the sessions that you're trading. So I think that that also kind of helps a lot too.
What I do want to say, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, Jeremy and I are the same person. We've already established this.
Yeah. Twin flames. You guys are.
That's what I was gonna ask. That's what I was gonna ask y'all because like a new feature in Strategy Wars we added this season was each team gets like one voice channel like per team per week. And so I was just gonna ask both of y'all, how have y'all enjoyed that? Has that helped y'all? Because like a lot of the voice channels, I will say is like you don't people just like shooting the shit. Honestly, it's like half the time it's like you talking about analysis, sure at the beginning, and it's just nice being able to kind of talk to people like who are like relatively thinking in like the same space. So like have y'all like enjoyed that? I'm assuming y'all have because maybe without a voice channel, this might not have happened. Like
This couple might not have been what they are. Jeremy's like, oh no.
I mean, like,
lost for words. I mean,
All right,
makes
sorry.
sense.
Way to put you guys on the spot. But no, I guess what we're trying to ask is like, has it helped you? It was actually requested by the community to be able to talk with one another. Obviously you hear from us a lot, but I also agree. I think it's nice to be able to hear what other people are doing or maybe listen to other people's analysis just to kind of see like what are they doing. And I think that you two have found out pretty early on after like going through that, you're like, oh shoot, like we have very similar analysis like what you're saying, like you tend to take very similar setups, look for the similar type of like trades. And I think that's kind of where you're like, wow, we actually maybe where you wouldn't have talked to this person normally in the community, you like realize like I actually have something in common with this person, and it has blossomed into this beautiful trading romance that you now have. And I think that that's really kind of cool. So like in your guys' opinion, do you think that that had kind of helped you a little bit or not really?
no, for sure, 100% has. Yeah. So like, Jeremy, are you gonna help out here?
Oh,
Yeah,
I was waiting on your response. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I love it, man. The very first day that we did it, I was nervous because there's a lot of like members in the community asking questions, and I didn't know if I could like handle helping a group or whatever. But man, it was so casual, and it's awesome to um kind of both help people out and communicate with traders. I'm not very social in my real life, so it's nice to talk to people that are all in like a similar setting, and then also have somebody that both trade similar to me and that we can joke and bounce things off and we're kind of confident in our trading already. So we got to kind of focus on the help and having fun more than any kind of like learning process or anything like that. So it was a great time. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's good. And it is worth noting the reason they're both here is because they both are consistently profitable with other
True.
prop firms and things like that. So again, I think finding somebody who is kind of at your level, and like you're saying, kind of at your level, kind of taking same analysis, like there is kind of that nice connection that you can form. And it kind of makes it a little bit more fun to be able to have like more of a funner experience with stuff like this, and kind of be able to, like you said, maybe help take the burden if you are trying to help a team. That does help as well. And also, just to kind of be able to joke around with whoever you want, maybe push each other in fun little challenges or little things like that in your trades that kind of make it a little more interactive for you guys and not so like monotonous, which can be something like strategy wars. Like if you are kind of an intermediate to advanced trader, like I think the monotony of it, like once you know how to trade it, like kind of can get like it's fun, but like I don't know if it's like every day like that exciting. But I feel like you guys kind of like keep that more interactive for each other to like have that like push, in the strategy wars to make it a little more fun. So, but yeah. Anyway, so thank you for both coming on and like talking about this little romance you guys have going on here. And I would love to know as far as your guys' trading goes, both of you, like, do you feel like having like you've gotten better? Do you hold each other accountable like for your trades? Do you talk about them, or you just
We
kind of more talk about like the process of it?
we do talk about it. We kind of have moments where we help each other mentally because we do have during the seasons, there's times where we're kind of going through like some mental things and we kind of just like message each other and just be like, yo, not feeling it tonight. Don't know if I'll take a trade. And then, Darren will be like, nah, that's all good. Don't worry about it. Don't have to stress about it. And yeah, we kind of just back each other when it comes to like, you know, struggles and all that stuff as well. So we still do have those kind of struggles. But yeah, it's kind of have nice to have that little support that Jeremy always been giving me. But yeah.
You guys remind me of a younger version of Artie and I. Like when Artie and I met, which I think is super cute. Sorry, Jay. Jay's probably upset right now. He's probably like, whoa. But Artie and we were very similar in that, like, we met in a group. We were kind of around similar, like levels. We were both kind of like at that time. And, it's just it's nice. We were kind of similar time zones and things before he, went to Poland and moved. So it's kind of nice to see, like, just to see this. And I think it's good to know. And like, potentially maybe you'll be like
Christy,
long-term friends,
let
and
me ask you a
because Artie and I have
question.
been around forever. So
Is it
what?
because Jeremy is almost bald right now? Is you're bringing up that?
Stop!
You know, be
No,
honest with me.
no.
Be honest. Be honest with me.
Jeremy has hair. What
I
are
did learn that that was the secret, so I
It,
trimmed a lot
you
off.
talking? He has hair. He has a very nice hairline. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just not.
I
It's
just
just
had
not
to.
long.
I just had to ask. I just had to. I had to address the
That
elephant
is
in the
not it.
room.
No, it just the way that you guys come across, where you like joke and you have like a good demeanor with one another. I think that you do remind me of that a little bit, which I find very like nostalgic for myself because it's cute. But good wishes to you guys. Artie and I have done very well in our careers, so hopefully good fortune comes to both of you too. If that's it's not it's a good thing to be the younger version of Artie and I. So yeah.
I thought you were gonna
Anyway,
say bald, but
poor Artie, man,
but
can't get your break in
all
this
joke
one.
all jokes aside, though, we really appreciate Jeremy
Yeah.
popping on again this week. Really quick, if y'all are actually interested in his trading, he is in our last podcast in episode 8. So feel free to check that out. And with that, we're gonna say goodbye to Jeremy.
Yes, we're gonna leave
Bye.
Rose
Hi,
on her own.
Jeremy.
We're going to put
Good
this
luck.
love thing to the test and see, does Rose really trade similar to Jeremy without
Yeah,
him?
we'll see soon. We'll
Yeah.
see.
So we are going to get into Rose. We're going to spend a little bit of time with her, get some updates about that. But Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm excited to see where this nice new trading couple goes and develops into. But for real though, in all seriousness, thank you both of you for helping so much in Happy Trail. Like I really do appreciate the help in the room, and I know everyone in there really appreciates you guys like helping them. So thank you very much for that. And best wishes to you, Jeremy.
Thank you
We will
guys.
see you in the
Bye.
community.
See you
Okay.
later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So we are now back with just Miss Navy all by herself. And so we are going to get into some questions with you, put you in the hot seat, and to find out what have you been up to, get some updates. We have not talked to you since episode 3 in season 1, and that was back in October. So
Feels like years
obviously,
ago.
Long time.
Ugh.
Yes.
it was a season ago. So
True.
so anyhow, we would like to get some updates with you, just see how are things going. When we left off with you, you were using some prop firms, you were trading them profitably, and as we all know, they can come and go, things can get difficult, sometimes you take breaks, whatever. So we'd like to know, like, where are you at, like what's been going on with you. So give us a quick update on how have things been going for you in your trading world.
Yeah, so I've also guess because like I have a few things. So like did miss season 2 of Strategy War, unfortunately. Because I had a lot of personal things that came up during the time. So I did take a break from trading for a bit and jump back in, and kind of when I got back into trading, kind of did lose a lot of like confidence. My mentality went down. So I even took a break after coming back from my break. So there was a few little like ups and downs mentally that I was going through, a lot of stuff back in the last year. And that did impact my training, and like it's just good getting back into it, find the rhythm. But yeah, it's kind of just like a little lost for a bit, but taking a break and just coming back and just looking at a fresh chart again and just taking it or stripping it back to the basic and then just building it up again. I found that helped me a lot.
Good. I mean, we all take
Yeah.
breaks, but yeah, it can be a little bit scary. I mean, I personally take breaks in December, and this year in particular, I was busy in January. We were doing some TTF things, and I know I went pretty late into January, and I'm not gonna lie, like I get excited to get back into the markets, but like even me, like I still get like butterflies sometimes. Like I get a little unsure about some of my analysis at first, especially if you've been out for a while. So it's totally normal. But I'm glad that you did get back into it. And I would love to know about like where are you at now? Like once you got back into it, what did you jump into? What did you do? Like what are you doing now?
So pretty much what I've been doing is just kind of like been playing around with my strategy. So I have like, as everyone knows, I'm like a super scalper. But I've been looking at playing with a few things, like going all over time frames. When I say lower, it's lower than the 1 minute. Been playing around with that for a
Not you
bit.
too.
Yeah, man, I've been doing that too. Been playing around for a bit with that. But that, yeah, it's still been like playing on the 1 minute. That's my main time frame. I execute on everything, and like I throw like indicators on there, like Happy Trail and stuff like that, to make it a lot easier for me. When it's just kind of like don't want to overanalyze and complicate the trade more than it needs to be. So like Happy Trail is great to just kind of like, that's your entry, you enter it, that's it. None of the overthinking, just for like, do I want to enter it? Not really, kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of been like, right now for me is like, obviously staying consistent and continuing with my prop firms and all of that, but also like kind of play around with my strategy and just see what else is out there and have a little fun. So that's pretty much what I'm doing.
So since October, do you still have like all the prop firms you had, or have you been kind of playing like you've been juggling them a little bit, where like maybe one went away, you got two more, or how's that been?
Yeah, so there have been times where, oh, to be honest, I did blow at least two accounts at once. Because I was doing a few things and kind of went like a little downhill after a few
Yeah.
losses and just kind of entered out of like, just throwing darts here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like right now I'm testing around some other prop firms. So I've gone ahead and just like, tried them out and playing with them for a bit there. So, that's kind of what's happening. So I still do have a few that are active and they have been active since, and
That's
hoping
awesome.
to keep it that way.
Yes,
But
yes, we
yeah, trying
are.
to yeah. But yeah, adding those other ones in there as well.
Are you still part time? Because I know you were started working part time back then, or are you like full
Yeah.
time trading now, or kind of what's your deal there?
No, I'm definitely still part-time working and then don't see that changing anytime soon. It's just like I want to say I enjoy the job, but I want to say I enjoy the company and like there's things that I want to do within the company, like progressing through different areas and fields just for experience and getting as much opportunity and exposure I can before I do decide to finally just decide to go full-time trading. So there's still a lot of opportunities there that I don't want to miss, which is why I'm still keeping part-time. But yeah, it's a great opportunity that I can still trade and work at the same time. So, that's just got to use it until I can't do it anymore.
I mean, kudos to you. It's all side income at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice because we actually spoke last week in the episode with Jeremy about that like pressure that you get sometimes when you
Hmm.
are
Mm,
funded, when you're taking a challenge or you are funded where you're doing this like, well, I have to because it's like I need this money. Like, and when you're keeping when you have a steady income coming in of some sort, it really does make you kind of appreciate like the prop firms for like just extra income, which I think also kind of takes that pressure off, like we've talked about. And I think, I mean, you can talk about that experience if you would like, but just kind of like that feeling of like you don't need to be greedy, you don't need to push yourself too much. Taking a loss here or there on or blowing an account doesn't feel
mhm,
as catastrophic to you, which
mm,
is really, I mean, I think is really important when you're learning how to keep building this consistency, and especially if you're really solely relying on prop firms, because we all know how prop firms can be. And
Yeah.
while they're great, I think that they're great to be used in your advantage. But let's be real, they take advantage of traders too, retail traders, and they sell this dream. So I think it's always important that as retail traders that we also take advantage of them, where it's like use them for what you can get from them. Take what you can, but don't be putting all your hopes and dreams into one account. You very well may need to take another account or sign up for a new one, do another challenge. But having the side income, well, not side income, that is your side income, which may very well be more than your actual income. But knowing that you have a steady flow of income is always nice to have. But so tell me, like, is that kind of how you feel? Like the pressure of these accounts, like, has that
yeah,
gotten better over time over the past few
yeah,
months?
for sure. Because like when I first started trading, the whole dream of like going for that 1 to 100 move and just kind of like
Mhm.
cash out there, like you start to realize that obviously that is like unrealistic, and obviously you can't really do that. Because human emotions and just sitting there waiting for 100, like 1 to 100 move,
Yeah.
is like ideally. But like now that because I have that side income, like getting 2% a day is like that's enough. Like I don't need to strive for like 10 or like 20 every single day. It's just kind of chill, very easy. Like, you just go in the market, you trade, you come out, you can even decide to not even trade that day. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to trade. And just it really did help with the pressure. And I find that yeah, in the long run, it definitely did help with my consistency, just being able to not have to be stressed about money, don't have to be stressed about passing, to be able to relax, trade, don't worry about a timeline, don't worry about the 30-day, 60-day, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Just trade it and then let your system play out.
I'm gonna go off this question, so I don't know if you're gonna change yours, but I'm kind of curious to know. And my question is like, when you were going through this funk that you were kind of in, your little trading funk, um, when you were losing the accounts and like when you blew some of the accounts and stuff, like, did you feel like you've obviously lost counts before prior to this? But did you find that the pressure on you when you were losing them, did you find that it was better or worse during this particular funk? Or did it like kind of dig you in deeper? Or were you kind of like, all right, you're in a funk, like I know I am, like this is stupid. And then did you like were you able to recover, I guess, from that like little trading funk that you were in? Or were you still kind of like where you were before? I'm kind of curious, like just knowing like
Um,
as you've been profitable, like more consistent, had account passing accounts, did it feel easier to come out of this trading funk than it did in the past, or did it feel like you were
I
just
would
still
say
feeling
it
just bad?
took longer to get out of the funk. Just simply because I haven't like that was probably the worst time for me like ever. Like I've never really gone to that point. Like since that point, I was generally was really good at controlling my emotion and very good at like stopping myself from over trading and stopping myself from like throwing darts. And when, one account I was like, that's fine, like, it happens, that's all good. Then the second account came, and that came actually faster than the first account. So it was kind of like it was like steamrolling down. And then like to stop myself from actually like, physically continuing on a different account and just doing the exact same thing again, it was like a really hard mental like, pull, like you have to pull yourself away from the computer and away from the chart and stopping myself from actually opening the chart again and being like, oh, I'll come back in like 10 minutes and have a look and see where the chart is sitting at, and then be like, oh, I'll try again. It was a really, really hard, difficult time. I actually did need to like my partner to actually close everything and hide it from me. That included my phone as well, because like I,
Yeah.
obviously I had my phone and my charts on my phone. I could trade on there as well. And my partner was like, nope, take it all away, goodbye. And that did take some time. And especially when like coming back, I did still have that in my mindset, but I also knew that I've previously gone through it. Like I've gone through the journey myself, and I know how to kind of get to a point where I was. It just did take longer because it did kind of like coming back from the charts after like a month of not really trading and just sitting there and just be like, what did I actually do again? Like, what was my strategy? So back then I had to like go back to my back test, go through my screenshots, just kind of stare at my chart and just be like, this is how I trade and what was the rules I followed, and kind of just stripped it down, add my rules back up, and then analyze everything again. And then as I slowly went through, I find that did help me get back to, the groove and coming past those challenges again and all of that.
I appreciate you being like totally honest and not just being like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's great. No, I appreciate that. Because I think that that's fair. And without getting too much into your personal stuff that's gone in, was going on in your life, we know you had talked to us, and I don't want to put that out there like that. But I think it is something I would like to say is like from an emotional standpoint, I think it is worth noting that like you were very smart to not be trading during the time that you were going through what you were going through in your family stuff. And I do think that in your case you potentially had like even more coming back. But what I'm wondering is like, did you feel a pressure to almost perform as well? And like, do you think that that maybe kind of like messed you up a little bit, where it's like, well, I was doing so good, like why am I not now? Like, because I've had this pressure on me where like I've had this where like if I take breaks and I come back and I'm like, crap, like why do I suck now? Like, and then this like kind of almost like this fear kind of hits you sometimes where you're like, why do I suck now? Like, what, did I lose it? Did I forget it? Like, what happened while I was
Yeah.
gone? Like, and you like you said, a lot of times it was more me just trying to rush back into something without doing the testing, jumping back in, and without doing the proper steps that I should have taken to get back into it. But I am wondering for you, like, did you think that more like you just maybe emotionally were still kind of dealing and sorting with things, so it kind of made you a little more impulsive? Or do you think that there was like a pressure to perform and be like, why am I not back to 100% where I was when I left? Or maybe both. Kind of just,
Yeah. No, yeah. So I definitely did feel that a lot, being the pressure of performing, because like obviously through going through like a couple of months and having really amazing months, and then all of a
yeah.
sudden you're trying to like get that back and then it's not working. Yeah, I definitely did feel like that's frustration and like disappointment in myself. Obviously, because I'm just like I expect myself to perform at this particular level and it's not happening. Um, it did take a while for me to realize, like, my partner and literally had to sit me down, was like, stop this. Just remember, it's all like increments. You have to remember, like, scripted, like, if you have to imagine yourself not training for a month, you've taken a break. It's like you go through like a game, or like, any any sport games, you're taking a break and then you're coming back. You need to train again. You don't have the same like ability like you used to. So you have to train that all up again. And it takes time, but it'll be a lot faster than if you were starting from the very beginning and didn't have no clue what training was. So once I had that kind of conversation smack on the head and was like, you've done this before, you just got to take your time. Just remember, it's like one day at a time. Just build up, go back to the basic, and just, gather all the data, get your confidence again, back test if you need to, do whatever you need to just get there. And like that really helped me. And I feel like if it wasn't for like that kind of, I guess, just call me like what's the word? That kind of like knock on the head, or just have that kind of like that moment.
Like a reality check. Like
yeah,
that reality check of
check.
like, okay, like,
Yes.
and I love that.
That's the word.
I'm gonna kind of just use an example because Jay loves a sports analogy. So if we get to use them, we'll put them in here. I mean, and I love that you use that, and I think that's very relatable to people. Like if you are going through a trauma in your life, you had an emotional experience, you have personal stuff going on. Like everybody has their lives, everybody lives lives, things happen. I think that it's really important that you aren't too hard on yourself when you come back into trading, because like you just said, and I think that your partner gave an amazing example to you to really help knock you on the head, that reality check of like, if you were an athlete and you were playing in a sport and you were an injured athlete, you are not coming back into the game 100% after being away for a month or whatever. You have to build up your stamina and you have to build up all this. And like, yeah, sure, you're training and your trainers will make sure you might play limited minutes. You might play, whatever, like smaller roles in whatever game you're playing. But like, you're never coming back 100%, and it takes time to get back into the groove. And I think that that's a great example, because this, just like anything else, is a skill, which we have said so many times, and other people have come on and have said it's a skill. So just like some sort of athletic person or whatever you're playing, whatever you're doing that requires skills, you may potentially not be the sharpest with them. Like this is the same thing. And I think that that was really, really great advice from your partner. So kudos to them. Send them much love from me. I think that was really good, because I find that people can be really hard on themselves sometimes, and they're coming back in and keeping you at that expectation level. And I myself am guilty of doing this to myself, because I'm a pusher too. I'm definitely somebody who like holds myself accountable and holds myself to certain levels. So like, if I'm not performing to it, like I find it very frustrating for myself too, which like gets in my head. And we're all guilty of it to some extent, in some way or another, mentally. Like with trading, it's one of the biggest, hardest things to overcome, or even control. And I don't think you ever actually overcome any of the psychological stuff with trading. I think you just learn how to
subsides here
control
and
it.
there, but it always comes back a little bit. But it's not as hard as it was in the past usually. Yeah.
So I appreciate you talking openly about that as an experienced trader now. Like you've been around for a while, and talking about it. So I really appreciate you being like open about your experience with that. So thank you.
I'm actually kind of curious on something though. So going back to the funk, what I'm actually interested
Oh man, we're
in,
just digging.
I know, we're digging. But like it's really
Sorry.
it's a really good like situation, because not only like, because profitable traders like go through that, and like it's in the same situation as people trying to become profitable are in that right now. But what I'm actually curious, Navy, is like whenever like your partner hits you on the head, like you got your reality check, and then he's like, okay, I need to go back to like let me relearn things. You're trading then compared to now. Have you like relearned everything and you're basically doing the same, or have you like built upon that? Maybe you're on a different time frames. Maybe you've added in concepts to help solidify your trading more. Like how has there been like a progression or like a change in anything, or you just kind of like went back and relearned everything that you've done and you're just steamrolling through it again?
So during that time, I did kind of play around with like throwing some indicators on there and all of that. But I found that the way I traded before and the way I trade now, it works best for me, because I can actually understand what the market is telling me. Because I'm way like how I like view the market is going to be very different to like how you and Christy view the market. And for me, I've always found that works the best. And I've just kind of gone back and just figure out why I wasn't looking or viewing or analyzing the market the way I was before and just kind of fixed it that way. So build it up that way. But the entry and all of that is essentially is very like it's very like, because what I've done is like how I trade Happy Trail now is what I did to kind of get myself back there. Because as I said, at the start, I was overanalyzing, was more complicated than it needed to be. It had to be like more straightforward, more easy to like read the market. And Happy Trail was perfect for that. It gave me that particular like that entry model that I needed to make it a lot easier for me to like jump into the market without overcomplicating it and just keeping it simple. And then from there, of course, like as time went by, I did decide to, take Happy Trail away, play with different time frames and all of that. But Happy Trail itself and how I traded, it had really helped me. Well, it was the way I passed prop funds, and it also helped me kind of get back to where I am now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think it's good. It sounds like you took the roots and you just kind of like reworked what you needed to. And I think that's also worth noting. And we talked about this before, like no system is ever going to be perfect forever. Like you're going to have to be able to rework your systems and be willing to do that. But I love that you touch on being able to see it for yourself and finding that like this works for me. So like even though you might have gone back, like maybe you kind of lose focus a little bit and you kind of go look, explore, like what are other people doing? The end of the day, the way you visualize the market is always going to be the best. And like, you can try to learn someone else's visual. You can watch as many videos as you want. You like, I try it all the time with people and they're like, I just don't see it. And I'm like, that's okay. You may just never see what I see. And that's the case. And I'm just not the mentor person for you. And like, I'm wasting your time. And I don't want to waste anybody's time because you very much might see something better. Maybe you like moving averages better or retail, like, things like that. Maybe you like certain different styles that like just aren't the way I teach it. But I love that you focused on that because I feel like, I guess just, I know I have to learn a lot of different styles because of the way that, the community works and we like to be more like wholesome to everybody's learning style. So I'm kind of forced to like keep up with other styles, even though they're not my preferred style of learning. And like, I do struggle. Like I personally struggle with like, I know like Jay like loved Outback and like, that's like a moving average. Like, and then I understand it. Like I get the concept, but it's not my preferred thing. Like if you said, hey, Christy, you want to put a moving average on and like trade a break of it and a retest of it, I'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. Like I don't. And like you like sometimes like you like I have people sometimes like show me charts and they try to explain it to their blue in the face. And I'm like, I mean, I just don't see it, like, but it works. It works for them. Yeah. And like that's the thing. It's like if it works for you, don't worry about what I say. Don't worry about what somebody else says. Like if you felt like you were working with a system, and this is just a tip for whoever's listening, if you felt you were working with a system that like you've had a bit of an edge on, but like maybe you asked somebody else more experienced or somebody who's profitable and they're like, oh, no, I don't think that's worth it or whatever. And like, you're like, no, but like I tested it. I'm getting this, whatever. I'm getting certain amount of results. I'm seeing certain stuff in my data. Keep working with your system because just because we might not trade that way doesn't mean that it can't potentially work for you. You just need to figure out how to make those tweaks. And like, yes, you might be on your own in this situation. Like you maybe are not using something that's more common, but it doesn't mean it won't ever work for you. And I think that it's nice that you kind of talk about how you went back to what you were doing. Like you were exploring other options, you looked into other things, but like at the end of the day, like what you visualized, you were like, no, this is what still makes sense to me. This is what tells that story to me of what the market's doing. And that's what you really need to know at the end of the day. You need to know what is the market telling you? And if you can figure that out, then you can apply any indicator, you can apply any strategy. You just need to know like, what is it doing?
In this case, Happy Trail, Happy Navy.
Yes. So yes. Let's look at some markups. Do you mind showing us like what you've been doing recently? Like what is your style? Let's see if it matches Jeremy's for real. No. I think that's great. And I mean, I think that you guys both have been definitely going through some things in your own trading journey. So it seems like it was really good timing that you did find each other for that moral support and then figuring out like, hey, we trade similar, which again is always a benefit. So,
no, that's true. And it actually does help because like we can like kind of talk about our strategies and all that. And it makes sense because we kind of view the market the same way. So it's that kind of like that common thing that connects us. Yeah.
It's like always a human helpful. It's like a human confluence, if you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Okay, can you see my charts?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I might just
Can I ask you a question
yes.
before you get into it? Do you
Yes.
trade certain pairs? Like, do you have
No,
specific pairs that you only stick to? Or
yeah, I only trade GU. So I am that one track girl that I trade one pair and that's it. I do have that moment where I kind of like look at other pairs and just be like, what is DAX doing? Or what's, AU's doing? Or what's NASDAQ doing? But I've learned that when I sway and look at multiple different pairs, my concentration and my analysis on a certain pair drops a lot. And
okay.
that's when I lose a lot more than I, have like when I shouldn't. So I've been training GU and it's been that for like ever. So GU has been like maybe 2 years or so that I've been training GU. And for that, for me, I found like I know the perfect time where GU really moves, which now I trade only at that time. I also know how it kind of moves and what to expect and during news and all that. So I just found that I know the characteristics of GU really well. And it's just like, why sway away from it if
Yeah.
you
No,
know
I
it really
100% agree.
well?
I always say that I don't think I mean, people ask, and my answer is usually like, I think you should learn on one pair, but when people
Mm,
obviously want more options, and I think 3 when you're a beginner, 5 if you're intermediate. But honestly, I think that when you can focus on one pair, what you really are learning is how to read a market. And I think that
yeah.
you day in and day out are watching it. So you're really watching the movements.
Hmm.
You're really understanding. Oh, and you can say, like, well, I know I dropped it a lot yesterday. So I know I'm retracing today. And like those type of things where you're really kind of like really understanding this pair that you're trading. You're truly following it through and not just kind of like, well, I don't know. I'm watching 5 different pairs. Like, which pair was this? Which was doing this yesterday? And like, I think that kind of like can over complicate it. And I'm all
Mm,
about this simplicity, keeping it simple. And you can always add pairs in as you get more confident. But in your case,
mm,
you seem like you're doing more time frames. So like you're comfortable using one
yes.
pair, but you're just like, well, if I don't have signal on this time frame, I'll go to this time frame, which
Yes.
we talked about with Jeremy about multi-time frame and loving it. We gave the chef's kiss to loving multi-time frame analysis, which I also think opens up this ability that you're using, where then you can focus on one pair and be able to have potentially a different time frames, but still being able to trade it. So
I
pretty
have a
cool.
quick question right
So,
before you get into it. Did
Yes.
you get Jeremy into GU or no?
Yes. I
or
did.
did
And then
he? Oh,
also,
okay.
also, are you thinking about trying GJ, the dragon?
No, no.
Okay, that's all. Yeah, that's all. That's all.
From what I've heard from Jeremy, GJ has been consolidating. It's just messy and ugly, which is why he was like, I've already told GJ that I'm seeing other people. So here, hello, GU. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
He's back in the
I
market, back in the pair market.
I
yeah.
mean, that's why it's the dragon, it like just makes like a little dragon body that it like roars at heads. When it does finally move, it's like crazy. And then it just
Mm,
sits. It just sits and does
mm,
nothing. But I think we can all agree that Rose probably wears the pants in this relationship that they have because it sounds like she leads in the conversations and things. So it looks like she is probably like, no, I will not trade it. And she's swaying him over the GU, which I wholeheartedly back as well. GU back in my
GU's a
Forex
better
days.
EU.
Yeah, GU in my Forex
yeah.
days was my favorite. So I actually like GU a lot. So London session looks like
Yes.
it looks like it's your thing. So
Yes.
are you strictly in London?
Yes, because it's
Okay.
London's the perfect time for me because it's not too late for me that I can sleep for work, and then it's not too early because I'm still working. So
Yeah.
London is perfect because that's when GU really moves.
Yep.
Anytime outside of that, it kind of just consolidates or kind of does a lot of whack things or a lot of news comes out, and I like to avoid all of that. So yeah, London is kind of like the perfect flavor. So I've found that
Okay.
it gives you the best results. So why stay away
All
from
right.
it? Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's look at some examples of what you are doing. I see you have a journal.
Yes.
Also, kudos on the journal. Jeremy had a journal. Please take this in, people viewing this, while she pulls up an example. Journaling is something that profitable traders do. Clearly, we do it. So make sure you're doing it too. So lead by
Yes.
example here. Like, look at what they're doing. If they're journaling it and they're profitable prop firm traders, like you should be journaling too. So anyway, that's just my plug for journaling your trades. All right,
I
so
do
let's look
agree to
what you
that.
got.
No, no. All right. So I have these trades here. They're very, I guess these trades are those trades I've taken during the strategy war. But it's more in depth, so it gets the analyst and all that.
You can
So
show
it's,
to be just so that everyone knows, it doesn't have to be happy trail. I know we're talking about a lot, but it's just because like we all happen to be happy trail people. You can show anything, like whatever it is that you're doing. You don't feel like
Yeah.
restricted to happy trail.
Yeah, no, it's Happy Trail is just like my baby. It's just like my
Oh.
OG baby. But no, it's just because it got me to where I am, and it also helped me pass like my first prop firm, and like that to me was huge, and it also like obviously helped me through my slump and all that as well. So this will always be like the thing that I'll have to always fall back on if
Yeah.
I'm ever going through like any like stress or mental like I'm like struggling and all that. Like all the other things I'm doing, like they're just like fun and all that, but I have so much data on Happy Trail and how I traded. Like it's just I know it really well.
Yeah.
But like the things I'm doing over there, like the other like different time frames and all that, it's still like on the works and making, and it still need more data. And like that's what I use. I guess look at Happy Trail and how I trade it, and then look at how I'll trade the other strategies, like gone in 15 seconds or 5 seconds and all that, and just look how that kind of reflect on when I'm looking at Happy Trail. So
I
yeah,
heard
I
you
mean,
correctly, right? You said 5 second, like for fun.
yeah.
Wow.
Look, I was trading 15 second like yesterday, and I was like, this is taking forever to close. Why are the candles taking forever to close? And I was like, this is not fast enough for me. And then like I jumped down
Wow.
5 seconds for a bit, and then like I was like, this is much faster. Thank you.
And when you're
Um,
doing, well, I'm just curious, when you are super scalping like this, are you
yeah,
using a higher time frames like bias, or are you
yes.
just solely doing that time frames analysis?
So essentially, I'll do what I'm doing like on Happy Trail. So I'll look at the 4 hour, 15 minutes, get my one
Okay.
minute zone, and then look at the 5 second
Okay.
or 15 seconds.
Whew,
So
I feel a
it's not
little
like
bit better. Okay.
yeah, no, no,
Oof.
I'm not that crazy.
My
No.
anxiety was like, if you guys could hear my heart, I'd be like, "Da, da, da, da," like I can't even. But okay, so we talked about this last week. You guys are all challenging me to do these time frames, and I was like, to be fair, like yeah, I did enter it on a 1 second time frame, but I watched the 15 minute, and I did all of my analysis based off of that, and I was very patient and waiting for that setup to come. And mind you, probably like 100 potential options passed by in the whole time I was waiting. So like I can definitely I could see the over trading aspect of those lower time frames, potentially being really, really bad for some people. But
Mm.
for for somebody who is doing this like can work themselves down and not get confused on the multi time frame analysis, I mean, I'm intrigued for sure. I'm intrigued to see how this ends up going for you. So we will do an update to check in on how does this 5 second
Yes.
trading seem to be panning out for you. But let's talk about what actually we know and you have the data on, and that you have actually passed prop firms with, because I don't want people messaging me asking why their
Yeah.
5 second chart isn't working.
Yes. But yeah, so for me, how I analyze is I always like look at the weekly, then the daily, and then go down that way. I only look at the weekly during the start of the week, and then the daily, I'll only look at it if I need to. So with GU on the daily, actually, where is it? If I remember, it's actually like kind of been consolidating between like these two range. So like I didn't really need to keep screenshotting that because of it hasn't really broke out of anything except sitting here. So I was kind of waiting. So that's why the 4 hours, 15 minute, and the 1 minute was more crucial because it kind of gives us more information about what's happening between this particular area here. So just like going through it quickly. So like, of course, this was back on like the 6th of March. So pretty much the early games of like strategy war. And like how I analyze the market is I always like to do a few things. So I like to find the structure I'm in. So if we're in a bearish structure as these highlighted reds, these indicate what kind of structure we're in. And I like to have that down just to understand what the higher time frame is doing. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. And then from there, I look at my zone. So I go to supply and demand zone. So I am an SMC concept trader. So I look at key areas where I do expect price to react. So had one here, another one here, another one here. And I was kind of expecting supply because in this situation, supply was in control. So for me, the bias was we're bearish and supply is in control. And order flow, of course, is still bearish as well because there's no bullish reaction there yet. That was the 4 hour. Then on the 15-minute, kind of give you a bit more information. So that was that area here. So this is what we're looking at now. So same concept as well. So generally I like to highlight the structure. I didn't do this situation because I completely forgot. But then I looked at like key areas of where I expect price to react and looked from there. So I don't like trading in consolidation. So how I determine or define consolidation is when the like supply and demand, they're both respecting. So like this area here, you can see there was consolidation here. So I was kind of expecting a break first before taking any kind of trade. So there was like a break here, and that was like the flip zone. So that's when support, supply came in control, and then I waited here for the reaction because I expected price to react up here because we are bullish on 15-minute.
I'm gonna clarify a flip zone because
I was
this is
gonna
a new
say that.
term.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because this is a fancier new term that Miss Navy has taught me this last couple of weeks. So a flip zone, if you, I'm not in control, but if you can just kind of show, like when I'm talking, basically imagine that you have a breakout of your support, right? So you have a support level, like you break out there, and then it comes back to retest that area. It would basically then become your resistance. So like it's like when you have a breakout of your support or your resistance level, and then market comes back to retest it, and it now becomes the opposite of it. So in that example, if you break a support and it comes back to retest, like comes up to retest it, it becomes your resistance now. And then vice versa. Say you break out of a resistance, it comes back down to retest that previous resistance level, and that's now acting as your new support level. The fancy thing that the cool kids are calling it nowadays is a flip zone. So that's what like your support and resistance become the same thing.
Old school people, aka the boomers, call it a break and retest.
That's me. Wait, wow, I'm not a boomer, Jay.
You're a trading boomer now. Congratulations.
I am a
Continue, Miss
geriatric
Navy.
millennial.
Yes.
But yes, that is
yes.
a fun name for it. So yeah, if you just so they understand, because you went through flip zone quick, and I know they're gonna be like, "What? Christy and Jay have never talked about a flip zone before."
Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah, you said the exact same thing during the voice chat as well. No, that's good. So yeah, that was how I analyzed on the 15-minute, and then I noticed that I kind of like to find like 15-minute is like my key zones because I obviously trade only like 4 hours a day, and I need specific areas where price will react from. So my strategy is crucially relies on zones. So it's not really the trends. Like I don't really jump in the middle of a trend. It's more like particular zones. I expect some kind of reaction from those zones. So that's where I wait for price to get there and wait for a reaction, then take it. So if my bias is correct, my analysis is correct, then I'll take that trade and obviously go to direction where I expect price to. So in this situation, I did expect price to be bullish because we're in a bullish short-term trend. So this was a trade I did take. It was a little bit outside of the time because I was waiting for the trade to actually set up and it took a while to get there. So essentially what I do is I do have 2 happy trail signals on my chart. So that's why you're seeing multiple prints at once. It's just because, I have 2 of the happy trails on. So generally what I do is I wait for price to get to my zone, at least tap it or wick it, whatever it needs to do. That will be like a valid for me. So then what I'll do then is I draw this green box and then I wait for price to trade above it. So whether it wicks above or close above, it doesn't matter, as long as it does something like that. And then once it does that, I always expect a retrace. So generally with a retrace, it has either a opposite happy trail print, and then I wait for my happy trail print, the buy, and then I enter my trade. And then obviously stop loss is just below the low here. So just generally how I do, how I trade. And I find this helps me a lot because it keeps me away from like jumping into the market too early and kind of anticipating the move when it's not ready. And happy trail for me and what I've been backtesting, it has really taught me patience and just kind of waiting for that print to, form and then jump into the market and then, let your knife play out.
This actually seems like so mechanical when you like bring it up. It's like the price goes to the zone, draw like a change of character box. It wicks above it. Look for a retrace, opposite smiley. Let it retrace, hit your zone, get your bias smiley, and you're in. I mean, that's That seems
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and I
I
found
like
like
that. Oh no, go ahead.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I just found like it just makes the trading a lot simple and just
Hmm.
don't overcomplicate, especially on the lower time frame. Because you have so many opportunities. If you don't go into the opportunity, like anticipating the move too fast or coming too late, it really can affect your account a lot faster, like skyrocket it downwards. Just because you're kind of throwing in darts and you're kind of just trying entering again, stopped out, enter again, stopped out. So keeping like rules and just sticking to them, and like if it plays out great, enter. If it doesn't, just stay out. It's always a more opportunity theater.
I mean, worst case scenario, if training doesn't work out, it seems like you've been throwing darts a lot lately. So maybe a professional dart career could work out for you. Who knows? No, but
Yeah.
so like whenever it breaks out, like in this case, it actually goes back to retrace. If it would just break like the change of character box and just continue to go up, you just don't trade, right? Or like, how does that work?
So I did it. That was an example about that actually. But essentially what I'll do is, I think, let me see, which one was it? No. Um, but generally it all does retrace. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. So generally what I'll do is, I think maybe, no, okay, they all pull back. So generally what I'll do is, I'll just go. I'll wait for the price to break out, and if it does like move up, I'll wait for like an opposite smiley to print, and from there I do have to like look at the higher time frame and just be like, are we in a particular area that price could be reacting from, like maybe a 15-minute zone or 5-minute zone, and kind of just look there. And then if it does print an opposite smiley face and then it does the happy face, then I'll enter it. So I'll enter it. If I lose, I'll wait for a deeper retracement and then go there. If it doesn't do anything, then I just don't trade. So I miss it. So I get one loss, that's fine. But at least I'm following my rules and just entering it based on the analysis and bias I did have as well.
Yeah. I love that you say that you have a bias, but you're like waiting for the confirmation. And I think that's
Yeah.
another thing a lot of people tend to do is that they create this bias, whether it's conscious or subconscious. We're all guilty of having them. And I think that the issue isn't creating the bias, but it's like not waiting for the confirmation of the entry
Mm-hmm.
of the bias. So it's not wrong to have a bias. I create biases all the time, especially when you're doing multi-time frame analysis, you're always creating them. The thing that separates, I think, people from being profitable using that type of thinking and not being profitable is like just making sure you are consistently waiting for the confirmation to confirm your bias. Just because you have a bias doesn't mean it's going to happen. And that's the difference between like hoping that it goes your way or like predicting it's gonna go your way. Like none of us are doing that. Like you shouldn't ever be like predicting it. You should be creating the bias, which is okay, but then waiting for the confirmation for that move. So you're actually letting the market tell you, okay, we're ready to go now. And I love that. I think that that's exactly what you're doing here. So, whatever your guys' style is, whether you're using this like type of change of character or market break of structure or whatever you're calling it, trend lines, whatever your version of that is, whatever it is that you're using to confirm that bias, really waiting for that signal, because as you can see, you can really get some like signals all over the place. And I mean,
Yeah.
this is our indicator, but for any strategy you're using, you're always going to have some sort of like multiple entries potentially. And it's like about waiting for that perfect one that really meets everything for you. So yeah, I think that's great. I mean, and you definitely have
Yeah.
a lot of good like rewards, it looks like, going here on some of these. So how are
Yeah.
you doing your risk management?
So in regards to risk management, I always go for a 1 to 2. I don't really go any more than that, even though some of these trades actually do run. At the moment, I do 1 to 2, but in the future, I can look at extending that a bit more because I do obviously track. This is the current risk I'm taking too, and then this is like the maximum that it can run. So you can see that some do run a lot. It's just that I'm happy with 1 to 2, and I just don't want to kind of
Yeah.
go any more
Yeah.
than that. So I do track it. So in the future that I can like extend it a bit more to like 3 or something like that. But at the moment, I'm happy with 1 to
It's kind of
Oh, and
unfortunate how you only have one
I'm okay
loss,
with.
but it's okay.
2.
No, I mean it goes to show you, and like I think that in time when you're more comfortable to start trading, if your win rate stays like this, then yeah, you definitely should probably look at finding a way to maximize your reward or your potential in some of them, because that's where you could really like start really doing well with some of your capital. And that's like my only advice at looking at this, because your win rate looks phenomenal right now. So I mean, whether it always looks like this or not, I don't know. But as you're tracking it over time, you definitely could look at like maybe expanding this a bit, or learning how to maybe trail your trades, or I personally
of course.
stack. I do the stacking thing where I go for the 1.5 all the time, because I'm like you, like I'm good with a certain amount and I'd rather take my odds. But then like the second trade, I'm like, we'll see what happens to you, like, because if you can move to break even quickly, like that stress of letting a trade run is way less. So yeah, you definitely, if you stayed like this, I definitely would suggest doing something like that, because that's where you're, that's when you can start maybe looking at making that like quit my job money, although
Yeah.
although you like it. And I get that. I definitely stayed at my job for a really long time, for similar reasons, like what you kind of said in the beginning, maybe longer than I needed to. That's a personal decision, but anyway, but yeah, this looks great, so thank you for sharing. And as far as what you target for your take profit, you always go for a 2, you don't pay attention to market structure at all, or do you sort of look at market structure as well?
I do still look at market structure, yes, of course. But yeah, I generally just do 2 because I find like it does fit between the ranges. And I don't want to go like too high, because sometimes because I trade during London, which is almost pre-open to mixed, I don't want to have my trade open while news is coming out as well.
True.
So it's kind of like, don't be greedy, just take the win and just call it a day. So that's why you only trade like maybe get like 1 or 2 setups a day during my session. And then I like to close it and not let it run while my session is no longer in play. So yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that with Jeremy as well, and I think that's a common thing a lot of profitable traders will say, especially if you're doing zones or price action of some sort in your analysis. I think all of us can agree. I myself, I show that in my videos. I don't usually go for the top of the zone or that one wick. Like I go for the more probable place where price will potentially hit. Like you're saying, somewhere in between your zones. Like you're good with that. Like you don't go all the way for the top of that zone. Jeremy said something very similar and showed it in some of his trades. Like he was doing something similar as well, where he's like, no, I'm not, I would rather fill this one wick or something like that than go all the way to the zone. So again, there's different styles that all 3 of us have said and talked about. I know Jay's kind of similar too. So I'm just going to cluster him in with me. But if we're all talking about this and saying this, like kind of goes to that, like, don't be so greedy is a good way to explain it. Don't be so like gung ho and like, well, it has to hit this zone. Like it very well may. And like, if it does, that's great. Your analysis, like be proud of your analysis, but don't be disappointed in like taking your profits as well. Like a true reward is phenomenal. Like, especially with this win rate, clearly you're in profit for the month. And, like that's really, really good. So I think that's also worth noting too, that a lot of people who are consistently profitable, they're consistently profitable because they're not they're not over like fussing about the analysis part. Like, oh, well, I should have held it here. And then like, kind of getting in their heads about it in future trades. They're just sticking to their system. And you just like, oh wow, that could have been a huge trade. Like, I mean, you have some 12 rewards and 10 rewards, and like I'm sure you were
But
like,
it could have
man,
gone against you.
Yeah, you're like, man, that could have been nice.
Always.
But then you could
have.
And I found that
for me, when I did like prop firms and all of that, what I used to do is try to get that one trade, one move, where you go for like the 1 to 8. And like it takes a while for you to realize that it's not sustainable in the long run. If you want to like build consistency, you need to have like, it's okay if you to do like 2 and take multiple trades, you need to pass the prop firm. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to do a one and done kind of thing. So yeah, that thing did help me. So it's kind of like teaching you patience and building consistency over time. And being okay with just getting that 2 for like a day. That's fine.
Yeah. And when you get your 2 for the day, are you done? It looks
I'm done.
It looks like you are. Yeah. No, and I love that. I mean, you guys know I'm the same way. If I get my like, I'm done, and then people are like, well, you're just done. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I made my money. Like, there is no reason for me to go back in the market. Like, that is just asking for trouble. Like, I've made my money, I'm leaving. Like, so I think that's really great. I like that you show this, and Jeremy also very similar did this now too, like where he kind of was just taking his profits and getting in and out. So thank you for sharing with me.
Okay, so to wrap up the podcast now, it's been a blessing for Miss Navy to come on yet again. But what I'm actually interested in is, any advice you'd like to give for people like listening who are starting out in trading? I've asked this to Jeremy, but I'm kind of curious to see if you have any interesting takes on those. Maybe in a funk. They might be in a funk too, or like they haven't found that profitability yet. Like, what would you tell them?
Tips, tricks, advice for newer traders or those who are feeling like they're maybe getting ready to start a prop firm or like looking to kind of start into that world, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like we're like a broken robot, just repeating the same thing over and over again. Um, but I guess if you're looking to start like prop firms and all of that, I definitely would say taking the advantage of the resources you have around you, whether that's using like some kind of back testing or kind of using like the free trial for the FTMO and just using that to kind of consistently pass without having to risk any capital yet. To using that to your advantage, even though you gotta like for me, you gotta remember that there's no need to rush. This is for the long term. So whether just taking a free FTMO trial for like the 14 days and then you pass and you're like, damn, if I started a trial like a challenge right now, I would have passed already.
Yeah.
That's not a best mindset because at the end of the day, that's not a good long term kind of like idea because like you could have a good week, everyone can have a good week, but that doesn't gonna kind of like roll over to saying a good month or roll over to passing a challenge consistently or just passing a challenge in general. So having that like kind of backup, like passing like 3 FTMO challenge or something like sorry, FTMO trial, not challenge trial. And then being like, yes, I feel ready. I have enough data. I know my win rate. I know my drawdown. I know everything I need. I know when not to trade or when to trade. If you have all of that and you have the data and confidence as well, that's when I found it's perfect to take the challenge. And that to me did really help me when it came to my first pass. Because I knew my strategy so well inside out. I knew the like maximum drawdown. I knew like the ideal take profits and then the kind of the expectancy to see how I go. And obviously passing like 3 like FTMO trials after that as well, it kind of gave me that push and be like, hey, I think I'm ready. And then that's when I saw progress and confidence, even if I didn't pass I didn't pass my first challenge anyway. But I did have that kind of that retry, and then I even saw like better like progressions in my like performance because I obviously had a lot of mental things to overcome. So obviously taking a trial, you don't have that stress of like I need to pass because this is the one I put money into it. I have to pass. I did see a lot of like improvement in that area. And then when I did take it again, so I think I took it 3 times before I actually did pass, but each time I did get better and each time I did with confidence. So yeah, that's just how I found how it works. So I just feel like you just really take the time on yourself, invest in yourself, and just don't rush the process.
Yeah, I feel like that's majority of everybody's problem is that they don't figure it out first. Then they buy a prop firm and they just expect that now they're in a prop firm, they're just gonna figure it out. And they're like, why isn't
Yeah,
this working? It's like, well, did it work before? No. Well, why should it work now? It's like
exactly.
kind of the mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with everything you said. And I think Jay and I kind of always reiterate these things like on every
Yeah.
podcast. So we sound like a broken record as well. But for those of you guys who are out there and getting ready to go into this part of your trading lives, your journey of it, all we can say is like if we're saying it on repeat and we have people who like Jeremy who came on and has said who actually preached the opposite. He admitted to his mistakes of like jumping into the challenges, knowing he wasn't ready. So kind of, but he's like, but don't do it, kind of thing. And then talking to you where you're saying like, yes, I took it took me 3 tries, which again, I appreciate you totally being honest and open about it. And that's why we bring you guys on because I think that there is a glorification sometimes when it comes to these accounts, like, oh, well, I passed it on the first try or it's so easy. And like, people aren't really real about the stuff that comes up with these challenges, the things that the effort it takes, the amount of time that it truly takes to do it. And like you might have gotten lucky and passed on your first try, but majority of people still won't be sustainable with that account because you just haven't learned the right habits that you need to have in order to be able to maintain a funded account. And so thank you. But anyway, I think that was great advice that you gave. Definitely being prepared, I think, is like the biggest thing we can say, and just not rushing a process. Like it is a process, it is a skill. And if you're in this because you're like, I just want to do it super fast, like you're gonna still lose money. You're gonna be paying for a lot of fees for sign up fees over and over again. And like they offer the free one, like so just take the free one. But yeah. I think that's great advice that you gave. So thank you so much for sharing. And I appreciate you being very open and candid about everything that you've been going through, like since October and the updates. And congratulations on still keeping some of them and getting some back and like
Sure.
on your progress you've made, because I think it just goes to show you're really a great trader. Like at the end of the day, like you really are something special, because like you've been able to like come out of that hole and still figure out who you are as a trader and like progress it. So congratulations. And I mean,
Thank you.
your win rate looks phenomenal. Like you're killing it. So congrats.
True.
But yeah, that looks great for this month. Looks like you're doing really good. Do you have any big plans for the future? Like before we end this for you, do you have any plans to do anything different, expand? Are you kind of like just chilling right now?
So besides like playing around with other time frames for a bit, that's pretty much all. I mean, like
I mean, that sounds
probably
super
see.
stressful to me. Like five
I like.
seconds
I
sounds
mean, like
like
I was like,
just
I'm
like
throwing a challenge to
that's all.
myself for Strategy War 4. I'm just like, maybe
Yeah.
prepare it for then and see how it goes. But yeah,
You're gonna
just kind of
start a
playing
whole
around.
trend. You're gonna start a whole thing, Rose, that Jay and I are not prepared to handle.
Do
We're gonna
start
have
it
every
first to see.
we're gonna have everybody on 5 second time frame now next season. Oh my gosh. All right.
Before
Jay
before
and
we
I are already
start,
like, oh.
nah, I'm not. I'm the police here. Before we start pointing fingers on who started who on the one or on the mini or on like the millisecond, we're gonna go to the millisecond time frame before this podcast even over. But
Yeah.
with that, I'm actually gonna stop it because I don't want to hear about millisecond trading. But with that, guys, this concludes season 2, episode 9 of Trading Floor Podcast. As always, Miss Navy, it is a pleasure. Really
Yes.
appreciate you coming out. Also
Thank you.
appreciate you, Jeremy, coming out a week ago. It really means the world because it's really cool to see like members come in and like tell their success, go over their struggles, how they've overcome it. And I think it pays dividends to hear about that. And so if y'all did like this podcast, please make sure you slam that like button on YouTube. And also in the community, if you want to hear more about other members' stories, let us know. If you want to hear about other topics, also let us know. But other than that, guys, stay safe and happy trading. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.